Hello and welcome back to the Virtual Winter Show.
No, you're supposed to say this is Joel.
Oh, that's Joel Longbone.
And that's Paul Davis. Honestly, we spoke about this before. Shocking. And it's only Wednesday. It's not even like it's a Monday morning.
See, that's what happens when you try and mix up the...
you've got to challenge yourself, even if it is that easy.
Mate, just getting a general conversation out of my mouth is always a challenge.
Not enough coffee.
Indeed. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. It's always wonderful to see all these lovely people joining live. Let us know that you're watching live. Give us a hello, a wave, a clap.
What emoji is it? We didn't
Joel's going to pick an emoji. That's even if it exists.
Oh, I hope it does actually.
Yeah.
Umbrella would be apt for today because it's raining.
Yeah, it's raining.
So an umbrella emoji in the comment section would be great.
Yes, indeed, because shortly it's going to be raining Sigma lenses.
Oh,
indeed.
Well, this is our first episode, first session.
Yes,
probably,
of today.
And then later we've got Pete Neal in interview with us, which is going to be really interesting, especially if you've watched the other one from Friday. So make sure you get all your questions together for that, because he is a very good photographer. And you'll learn a lot from him if you ask the right questions.
Yep.
And then tonight we've got Gary Jones, the wildlife photographer, which is going to be really good. His last one with us was very good. And the interview we had with him on Photography Out Loud was a great one too.
Yep.
So
very much looking forward to that
lineup for today. So let's get started with Sam from Sigma.
Yeah, indeed. Let's all give Sam a big welcome.
Hey, and we've got our first umbrella.
Oh, we've got an umbrella.
We've got an umbrella.
Brilliant.
Cheers, Dave.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. How are you guys?
I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. We don't have the weather here. We've got a nice sort of. It's not raining. It's just gloomy.
Well,
it's just something.
Just rubbing it in your face now.
Delightful. You know you can go off people, can't you?
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
Oh.
But we've got some very exciting news today. Some of you might have seen yesterday, we released a couple of new lenses. Ooh, very exciting. So, So yesterday we announced 3 new optical designs. So we've got a, where we go. We got a 24mm 3.5, as you can see on the left there. We do a 35mm f2. And additionally we have the 65mm f2 as well. So for a lot of keen eye viewers, you can see the 45mm in the middle there. That was released last year. And that goes alongside with our L and E mount optics. So that would be on a Sigma FP, a Lumix S5. You could put it on an A7 series camera and it would work perfectly. What do you think of them? First impressions?
Yeah,
well, they look good.
They've got that sort of, they've got like a real cine feel to them, and that sort of like an old school sort of feel to them as well.
If the construction is as nice as the 45, then those feel really good in the hand and not be massive.
Yeah,
I'm guessing. Well, let's get to that question. What was
definitely. So as Sigma, we range these in our premium compact primes. Quite frankly, as you said, the build quality is the first one off the bat. So you can see that I've got a nice little silver version of the 45mm here. And this is the same sort of metal body, which is carried throughout the whole 4 lenses in our range. So the 24, 35, 45, and 65 will share the same metal build. So to have that in such a small little compact lens is fantastic. But going through them, as you can see, they're not the fastest of lenses. They kind of sit in an f2 sort of 3.5 range, because we find that a lot of photographers have the trade-off between they go either for the aperture, but with the aperture they get the size and the weight, and then from that they don't tend to take it around too much. However, there we go, popping on orders. However, with the size and the weight, as I said, you wouldn't normally take it in your kit bag because it might be a bit too heavy and a bit too cumbersome. However, now we found that a lot of people who would shoot on, say, who might take a 35mm, this is our 1.2, they will probably just shoot on f2 anyway. So from doing that, you can condense it down into a much smaller size. on a side-by-side. There we go. There's the 35 f2 we have there. And that's on an A7 series body. So you can see it's pretty well balanced and pretty well sized to fit the mirrorless systems. And we also have the manual aperture rings on the top there, which have a very...
It's got that old school vibe.
And it's got a very satisfying click to it.
Yeah.
And as well as you can see on the image there, we have an A on the aperture ring, which is automatic. So you can pop it over to that, and then you can still control it from your camera for any of the newer systems as well. So
That's very cool.
the hoods are built from the same material as the actual bodies themselves. So we're talking, these are premium quality materials we're using in all of these lenses now. Actually, I might push it further and say that these are better build quality than some of our art series lenses.
Wow.
Which is nice to know.
That's saying something, that is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's because they are just one solid metal housing in comparison to some of our other lenses are built up from metals and plastics. So we get a mixture of the two, really. But saying that, moving on to the front of this lens in particular, so the one which I've got here, you can see that I've got a slightly different style of cap. So this is, normally you get your little clip plastic cap, which you can pop on in and out. However, these lenses include two caps. You get your plastic cap, which you can put on and off, and you also get this metal cap, which is magnetic.
That's very cool.
So you can just simply clip it on and you're good to go. There's no more accidentally not putting it on correctly. It's one of those things you have to try this in the shop, but it's so satisfying.
Does that mean that the filter thread's gone, or has it still got a filter thread on all of them?
Yeah, so when you put the magnetic cap on, you can't use any filters with it. It still has the threading, but you can't use one, unfortunately, and you wouldn't be able to use the hood because of the way that the cap's designed, that we have to pinch it on the side to pull it off.
Yeah, sure.
So having a hood, you can do it, but it makes it very fiddly.
Sure.
But saying that, I took this 35mm out the other day to the forest and took some photos and running around, and I was damn shaking it, trying to get it off, and it wouldn't. It is a sturdy little bit of metal and magnets. Saying that,
it won't knock off easily either.
No.
That's the other problem with like the other ones, isn't it? You only have to catch the grip slightly on a piece of clothing or something, and then it'll just ping off really easily.
Yeah, that's the problem. But I think this is quite, out of all of the products, I'm very excited to see these caps introduced into the market and see how they go, because we've also added some new accessories for this cap feature as well, which I think is very cool. So it's a cap holder. So what you do with this is you clip it either onto your jacket, your belt, your camera bag, as you can see there. And then when you're shooting, you simply just pop your cap off your lens. Pop it on your belt. It's clever. It's so clever.
Better than that piece of thread with a sticky pad on the end.
So like minging and
or goes through that little hole and then it like flaps about in the breeze.
Yeah.
You see that horrible plasticky sound.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
But this one has the same
cap.
What?
Cambrian logo in yellow.
Oh, it would. It would.
There we go. We get branding.
We have to brand it.
We got the brand on top of all the nice stuff that you've done already to it.
Yes. Well, we'll definitely do that for you. So,
I mean, sorry, Sam.
I was going to say, so that's one of the exciting accessories which we've introduced with these lenses as well. I just wanted to share that instantly because we're getting a lot of good positive feedback about that little cap, which was announced yesterday as well. But the three lenses in particular are optical performance very, very good. They're very high performing lenses. As we can see from, there we go. There's the 65 design and the elements in between. So we got aspherical lenses covered in red there. So aspherical lenses are very hard to create and very expensive. And to do it in such a small body of a lens is absolutely remarkable. And we'll see some images in a moment of these side-by-side comparisons of these lenses. And it is pin sharp in terms of corners and center, even going throughout some of the F range. So I think
FLD stand for?
Oh, sorry, Joe.
What does SLD element stand for?
Oh God, now you're testing me. Oh God, put me on the spot.
Is it super low dispersion?
I believe so.
Like that. Okay, cool.
Believe
Sorry.
so. That's all right. Get me out of the flow.
Think about live, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the one
It's
question.
all right. We were probably only going to make fun of it anyway.
Yeah.
That's what Joel does.
Well, yesterday we did a talk with Tamron, and they used every known abbreviation known to man.
Yeah, there was a lot.
Yeah, it gets far too
One had voice
complicated.
coils. It sounded like it was going to be like Alexa and understand what you were saying to it.
But as I was saying, so we've got this is a 65 image here. So this is one of my colleagues took this at his local pub the other day. As you can see, we've got it's a nice simple image. If we then this is taken on f8. However, I believe we're going to top left corner or top right corner in a minute with a different photo, and you can see a side-by-side comparison of when we take it on f2 versus f8. There we go. So f2's on the left, f8's on the right. There's not much in it, is there?
No.
For image performance, that is a very, very good lens. I think there's a slight bit more contrast on the f8 version, but I can see you two properly looking into your laptops. We are people.
Magnifying glass out.
Binoculars.
Yeah.
But it's incredible to get
my macro lens out so I can see it in more detail.
That is very good.
No, it's good, really good.
But we're looking at
the sharpness in the corner.
Exactly, and out of a very compact lens.
Yeah.
It's not a big beastie with a pane of glass in there. It's,
Yeah.
It's like
Something
pretty
that's
small.
really compact. Yeah.
absolutely
No, that's
fine.
lovely.
And the nice thing is then you can get the sharpness all the way from f2 to the f8.
Yeah.
Which is the majority of shooting for a lot of people who would buy a 65mm.
Sure.
So we're very, very excited to see some customers take some photos with these because they're going to be pin sharp. The optical performance of these somewhat outperform the Art series lenses as well in our range.
Oh,
So
quite a statement.
even though they're contemporary, they are those premium compact primes we talk about. So they're very sort of high end for an f2 version, because we tend to find in the market for these lenses, a lot of these 1.8s or even 2.8 lenses were probably plasticky and they're a little bit cheaper in design. Everyone knows a Nifty 50 for 200 quid. Everyone's got one of those. However, these are going for that premium compact build, a lens which you want to take around with you, which you're not worried about it knocking around, because it's got fantastic build quality and fantastic image quality. Especially if you're not going down to those lower f numbers.
It's very cool.
It is.
Yeah, that's as well.
Yeah, you do.
I think I'd buy it just for that.
We got some more images here.
There we go. So this is another one taken with the 65mm. Again, this is f8. And then we're going into that top left corner now. So where that blind is with the window. There we go. Same principle. So we've got f2 on the side and f8 on the right. Again, it's very hard to tell the difference, isn't it?
That's very good, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're speechless for a change, Joel. that's a really
I could start talking if you wanted me to.
Because normally when you get to f8, you'll see a drop in sharpness, a little bit more maybe chromatic aberration, that sort of. But this is where we get the those red elements I was talking about on our diagram. This is where they come into play and reduce all the aberrations in the corners and in the center as well. So you see massive improvement from these little lenses.
Yeah, it's interesting because I mean every lens manufacturer has to make like that sweet point as it's sometimes referred to, and normally we see this between sort of something like f5.6 moving up to maybe f16, and then you tend to avoid the extremities of your settings. But I mean what we're seeing here is that the sweet point on these lenses is running between wide open. Going up to f8, which is like Sam was saying, is more of the area that you'd use for a lens like this. So
it's very cool.
No, it's awesome.
And will these lenses be good for video work?
Yeah, so for anyone who's shooting video with AF systems, these are all stepping motors internally, so they're smooth, quiet, and accurate for focusing, which is great. And then obviously you've got your additional declicked iris, as we spoke about earlier. So then you can actually control your aperture, and you can do aperture ramps as you go through. But yes, for anyone who's shooting native onto the Panasonics or the Sonys or even our Sigma FP, you can pop it on and the AF should work perfectly.
That's cool.
And you're going to get all those features because it's native as well, aren't you? So
I'm looking forward to having a play with those.
Yeah, it's going to be a really, really nice sort of system to play with, and you're going to get fairly decent background blur with them and everything as well, aren't you? So.
Yeah. So we've got, I think we've got some bokeh tests as well with going on. There we go. So this is taken. he's doing it right. So this is taken with we're shooting again with the 65mm in this example, and we're testing out the foreground blur. Not many people would get extreme foreground blur, especially with a lens like this. You would probably try and get background blur for portraiture. However, the foreground blur is good to know if you have like fairy lights dangling in front, or you're shooting through something similar to like we are doing now. As you can see, it's very pleasing to the eye.
Yeah, they're yeah.
And then there we go. There's a typical background blur. Again, very beautiful to look at. It's very rounded. Again, sharpness in all the corners as well. These lenses are going to be fantastic for portraiture work.
Yeah,
especially the 65.
Yeah, and a good time of year as well. You know, for around like Christmas time.
It's almost like Sigma planned it, so they'd be like, they could flex about their bokeh.
Yeah,
on some Christmas.
Definitely. But I think we've got another shot of a bike. So if we get the wide shot of the bike on here, there we go. So this is taken with our 35mm. So this is this one here. Nice little bike, I think in Japan somewhere. But if we look at the bike logo on the front, so where you got the wheel fork, you go up slightly and you've got a cable tie. In between the cable tie and the wheel fork, down, right and up. So, and you've got a little white sticker.
Yeah.
So on that little white sticker, I think we've got another image to show you zoomed in. And we're looking at, there we go.
Blimey.
So you can see the resolution. I mean, this is obviously set to frame of a 35mm, but we're zoomed in, what, 500%?
Yeah.
Where
was it? There is it.
Yeah.
10 pixels in the middle of the shot.
Wow.
The thing which limits us here is we were only shooting on a 24-megapixel camera.
Yeah.
So if you had higher resolution, any of the Sonys which push up to like or even the Panasonics which push much higher than that these days, you will be able to get even crisper shots from that center image.
So will these resolve for like the S1R and the A7R3 and R4?
Yeah, they should be able to resolve them really well.
That's impressive.
Nice and sharp.
Full lens.
Yeah.
Like those cameras really test how good a lens is, like in terms of to resolve for pixels.
Yeah.
That many pixels.
No, it makes a big difference knowing that there's lenses out there that it's sort of, you know, you can get that quality at a very sensible sort of price point as well.
Well, what is the price point?
Good question. So I think we have another slide. It's where is it on here? It's a third slide along.
Yeah.
So there we go. So on that third slide, the 24mm comes in at 479.99 pence, and that's available on the 22nd of January. We are all taking pre-orders on this now, so if anyone wanted to pick one up, be on that first shipment, book it in now. We've got the 35 f2 as well, 1st of January for this one, and that's at 549. The existing 45mm in the range, which is currently out, is at 549 as well, so it's again in that sweet spot. And then we're looking at that 65mm with the example photos shown. That's on the 1st of January, and that's 649.
Wow.
So very reasonable price for such high-performing lenses in a compact body.
And yeah, the optical quality.
Yeah.
Those are price points that you wouldn't be mad about.
Yeah, no,
Even if you were to buy a couple of those.
yeah, and to get the resolution at that cost is brilliant.
Well, this is what we found with some of our digital crop lenses. You might remember we've got the 16 to 35 and the 56, same sort of size. However, they're very popular because a lot of people, when they pick up one, they take a small bag about that size and they can fit all three in. So you've got your whole shooting range in such a small, compact, almost bum bag sort of style. And you could do the same principle with this. So you could put a 24, 35, 45, and 65 into a compact bag, and it weighs probably the same as this lens here.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very attractive. Oh, that's the 35 1.2.
Yeah.
So it's one of our largest ones we have in our range. It is, but that's the other side. That's when you want to go down to those lower apertures. Then unfortunately, it does go up in size and physical weight. But I think these are more aimed at that, maybe like a travel photographer, someone who wants take photos of the family, but not have a big camera bag with them and not break their back or have to go to the gym to lift them. So these are perfect for the run and gun shooter, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Very cool. So let's quickly have a look at the comments before we move on. Rob Joseph says, would any of these fit on my Leica T?
Oh, the Leica T. So these are L mount Leicas. So the Leica T, what's the mount on that? I'm just trying to remember.
We don't stock the Leica. Let's just have a look.
So currently these only are available in E mount, so SE mount or L mount system. So you could the L mount for
it's T mount.
So it's like
I suspect, unless you can get a converter, an adapter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the T mount.
So they have their own mount system. Yeah. So, but saying that, I think if Leica, because obviously Leica have the L mount as well, they might actually do something internally themselves. But that's something that we can definitely check up on. It's more of a Leica thing rather than a thing. So, but
that's the nice thing about our three brands. So for a lot of people, they might have realized a couple of years ago that Panasonic, Leica, and Sigma joined an alliance.
Yeah.
So now we all share internal data. We will make products which will work on each other's systems. So, for example, you could pick up one of these new lenses and get it in L mount, and you could fit it onto a Panasonic or a Leica camera, and it should work perfectly fine. And vice versa with our cameras and their lenses, you can swap them all around, and it's just the beauty of being in an alliance, really.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, the words in the name really, an alliance itself, but having just the nice thing about knowing that, that you're speaking to each other and you can have the confidence of, releasing a lens like these lovely new lenses here.
Interestingly, it's quite possible that the Leica T mount got renamed to the Leica L mount when the alliance was created. So Rob, if it is an L mount, which you seem to have suggested it is in the comment, then yes, it will work.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant.
Without any issue, in theory.
Yeah. Oh, that's great news.
Would you like to put an order in for all?
There we go.
We've got another question from Gareth Horn. Any Z mount Sigma lenses on the horizon?
Oh, this is a common question from us. So we get the Z mount, the RF, we get the X mount as well. Unfortunately, we understand the demand, and we always feed it back to the factory, and the factory have recognized it and said, yes, thank you for letting us know. Hopefully there will be some, but we can't confirm or deny future product mounts, unfortunately.
Sure.
So watch this space, you never know.
Well, hopefully in time to come, because the EF is very popular and the F mount are very popular with Sigma, and as the RF and Z mount grow more popular, then it would make sense. But the problem is it's not as easily convertible because the flanges are bigger.
Yeah, I think because we've seen it in the past with even some of the Sigma lenses. I mean, you're very quick to market with making some of the EF lenses to the E-mounts. But essentially, the lenses looked like
Just
the
an
Canon
MC11
with an MC11 stuck
molded
on it, which was made it a more complete unit, made it native. But now we're starting to see some completely new ground up builds.
like mirrorless only.
Yeah.
Well, these are case in point, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're L mount and FE mount.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic news, especially for those of us who love a Sony full frame camera.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be the same with all the other mounts and stuff as well. Because, like you said, the flange distance on all of them is
the Z is like
similar.
massive as well.
Yeah. But that's the nice thing about any of those systems.
And for like full frame, at least, it's crazy.
Yeah. So obviously, it is a complete rebuild, isn't it?
Definitely.
So it's going to take time, but I think we are going to see them. So.
I sincerely hope so, because to miss out on the quality of glass that you can get for the price from Sigma would be a great shame. Yes, that's one of the things that made it easier, at least for me, to move from Canon over to Canon and Fuji over to Sony, was the fact that I could convert all my Canon EF mounts with an MC11 for like 20 quid. Like I've got 5mm 1.4, and I had the 24-105, and those are two great lenses for the money, and also being able to adapt them. And now I also use a 7200 f4L lens from Canon, and I've not had any issues. And I was like shooting some like fast moving sport with it, and it was just like bang on every time. And it was a lot sharper than I had imagined as well, which is very reassuring as well too.
I mean, for anyone that doesn't know, should we get Sam to explain a little bit about what the MC11 does?
Oh, and the MC21.
Yeah,
I can do.
Forgot about the other
day. Also, just to touch upon that previous point, just to let all the customers know that a lot of our lenses are firmware updatable. So if you did have a Nikon mounting camera and you want a lens and you wanted to put it on a Nikon Z mounting camera, we can actually mount it onto their Nikon's adapter, and with our future firmware updates and our current firmware updates, it should work perfectly fine. Sure. So just keep that in mind if you are looking to still use our lenses on that system. However, if not, we just keep updating them to correct any issues which might occur.
And this is a comment we made with Tamron yesterday. It's great that both companies are producing lenses that are updatable to keep up with all this new technology. And also, you don't have to, in most cases, send them off. No. You just use, or you either buy the dock, which is inexpensive, or you come into us and we'll sort it out for you. Like a new lens every time.
It is perfect, because with the amount of new cameras coming out these days, I mean, like, for example, with Sony, I can't keep up to date with the latest one they're releasing because they're just churning them out, which is great. But some of our lenses are, say, 3 or 4 years old in terms of firmware. So it might not recognize that new tracking which Sony added on their latest version. So that's why we have to always keep them updated. And as you said, we can buy the USB dock. I think we sell it for about £40 odd, which if you have 1 or even 2 or 3 lenses, it's so ideal to do, because there are some lenses where you get customizable buttons on the side as well. So you can actually customize them using the dock. So otherwise you can't really customize them too much. So
like the 150-600 and things like that, to be able to update it and tweak things so easily.
Yeah.
And you can do it from the comfort of your own home.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And you can try stuff out as well.
You can. And I think when you start to specialize in a certain type of photography, that's where the customization comes in. I mean, I think me and you, Joel, we do a lot of everything, don't we? So family, bit of sports, bit of wildlife, landscapes. But obviously we have some customers and some members of the staff that are really they're really starting to specialize in certain fields, and that's where the customization really starts.
Like
they
have one lens for one job, like one lens for one event. Yeah. Even if it's like once a year, like they do enough work with
and
that
they can
one
tweak
lens.
The focusing. You can tweak the way that the image stabilizer works.
And also, it's better for things like the environment and your bank balance.
Yeah.
Having to buy a new lens every time they bring out a new feature, which again is what, like we've been saying this whole week, is reassuring, because whilst we'd love to keep selling lenses, we'd much prefer you to be able to buy one really good quality lens, be able to keep updating it for like 5, 10, 15 years and last you all that time, and you get all that enjoyment out of it, and then you can spend that money you saved on new lenses on other stuff.
Yeah,
and that's exactly why we brought up the USB dock, is because as Sigma, we want to give back and be able to give you as much customization as you can. We've even introduced a service where if you had, say, a Nikon mounting lens and you swapped over to Sony or you swapped over to Canon, we can actually change the back end of it to the correct mount you would like. So you get to keep that lens which you dropped when you were shooting, I don't know, the rugby, and it's got that crack on the front and you love that. You can keep that, but just swap the mount on the back. So that's a service we offer. So we're always giving back and adding that extra little bit of service for the customer. And the USB dock's a great example.
I didn't realize that was a thing until a while back, and I thought, such a genius idea.
I think it's a very underrated thing. Yeah, it's not spoken about a lot.
Like tens of thousands of pounds on a wide range of Sigma lenses, and you can send them all up and have the mounts changed.
Yeah,
it makes a lot of sense, and you're not losing anything in the deal really. Obviously, it costs for the mount change, but
it's less in comparison to trading all your kit in and then rebuying it again. So it's it does work out in your favor. So
that patina that you were talking about, you know, those stickers that you put on your 150-600.
Yeah.
That you'll never get back again.
The special wraps that you may put on your lenses.
We've got another question. Dib says, is there any news on a Sigma Fuji mount? But you've said, obviously, that's something we're not sure about for the future. Time will tell. And Dan says, weather sealing on those lenses.
Yes, that's something I forgot to mention. Yes, so they are all weather sealed. So you can take them out in dust, rainstorm, you're good to go, because they've all got the little rubber gasket on the back end of the lens there. So you pop that on. I wouldn't worry at all. Everything is very, because we use the same machines that we use for our Cine lenses. Sure. So we have very tight tolerances in between every bit of metal. So actually no dust or dirt will get in there, which is great. And so yeah, completely weather sealed.
Awesome. Right. Dib said not having access to the Sigma glass when I moved to Fujifilm in 2016 was the only thing I missed. Gareth says, thanks for the info, guys. Let's hope I can keep some money until they come out. He's got a Z. Yeah. He's got a Z. Oh, excuse me. Right. Rob says, which of the Sigma lenses that are being reviewed would be suitable for an urban project?
I think the whole set.
Yeah, it depends how wide you want to be. Yeah. If it's on full frame, then if you want the whole scene in, then 24 is going to be great. Yeah. But 35 is a very pleasing focal length as well for street work.
I think, yes, speaking in a hypothetical sort of scenario, and money's no object. I mean, we discussed it before. You could have the whole set within a bag, and you've got, you know, from the 24, 35, 45 up to the 65, and something that is very, very small and very, very neat in your bag. So I think the whole set for like that urban sort of traveling light with sort of full frame.
If you want great quality in the rain,
get a couple of droplets of water on the front of your lens, off your pop.
Okay. So, have you got any other goodies to show us, or any of the lenses?
So you want? There's a physical one with the one you've highlighted there is the 65mm on RFP in the physical hand. So it's very hard to see on some of our product show photos physically how big this thing is. So there's my colleague's Tim. He should be a hand model personally, but he's sporting it very well on a 65mm and an FP there.
Magnetic lens cap.
Magnetic lens cap as well. And for anyone who knows about an FP, it is, I mean, side by side to a Sony A7, it's tiny.
Yeah.
So the lens actually looks quite big on that in comparison, but you've got to remember we're just putting it on a very small camera body itself.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we'd be sort of cutting ourselves off if we didn't speak a little bit about the FP, because we've mentioned it in the past, and it is just such a versatile system because it can start off so small, and then you've got the modules that you can add onto it
and build it. And also just the fact that it's so obviously a hybrid camera with that sitting still and just being able to slide and go. I think Sigma have really thought about it and kind of said, we're not going to be like all the other cameras, and try and be, we're going to be all things to all men, but a different way to, having like the PASM dial and stuff like that, or do you know what I mean? It's super easy. And when you pick it up for the first time, it is ridiculously small. And it's odd, but like it feels so familiar at the same time. And you can also see that if you're into doing video work, you could build that up into a really sweet looking rig that would happen nicely and be very balanced and not like you wouldn't feel like parts were getting in the way, like the fake pentaprism housing that we get on like the A7 series and stuff like that, just having flat sides, and also seeing all of those holes in the side, knowing that it's going to stay nice and cool.
I mean, it's a very clever way, because you look at them and you think they're vents, but they're a way of, because they're all those little intersections, they're almost connected to the inside of the camera, aren't they?
So it's part of our heat sink system. So basically it sends the heat out separately with no fanning. It's just the natural air being sort of distributed around the camera, but from that we can record higher performance and for a longer time without overheating. But for a lot of people out there, they'll go, well, there's holes in there. Surely it's not weatherproof or weather sealed. However, it is. It's got 42 points of weather sealing around the whole unit itself. So you're good to go. And especially with the 65mm, which is weather sealed, you can take it out in pretty much any condition.
Sigma flexing in the fact that they can keep their camera cool and keep it weather sealed.
And
still have enough holes in it to use it as a colander. It's great. Oh, look at that.
Lovely stuff there.
I can't wait to see the magnetic lens cap. I know that sounds sad and weird, but when you've lost a few lens caps, just pinging up, and also having the holder as well. That's just going to be great.
It's little things like that do make a difference, 100%. Though, isn't it, as well?
And also, obviously, I don't know, Sam, if you know, but there's a lot of scope for creating more accessories with that magnetic ability on the lens. Obviously Manfrotto and HMY make the magnetic filters, but it'll be interesting to see if that's a bigger deal in the future, being able to put different things on the front of the lens, because it'd be very you're starting from magnetic on the lens rather than having to add a feature to add that magnetic capability. So it'd
be nice to see it on, like you said before, like filters. Like if Sigma, wink, wink, can sort out.
Take notes,
take notes. Little polarizer on there, that'll be lovely.
Very blendy, because a very blendy on one of those lenses on the FP.
Oh, now we're talking.
A good quality ND, very blendy. I might be selling my Sony at this point.
But it's nice, as you say, because it allows a lot of people to now get a bit creative and develop ideas. It's like when we announced the FP, we basically shared all the data in terms of the externals and how the ports work. So you get third-party manufacturers making accessories for it and bits and bobs. So similar thing with this lens cap is, although it is as simple as a lens cap, as you say, it allows so many people to add more flexibility down the line, and I'm sure, as you say, you'll see many accessories building on that.
And also, like the ability to have hoods as well. Like bellow hoods and stuff like that. And just being able to click them on and off whenever you need them. Good times.
Lots of good ideas. I don't know why you're telling everyone this.
You should have a Cambrian range of magnetic filters.
Video down, and we're just going to convert this into a brainstorming session.
Our first filter will be a starburst filter. Oh, cringe. That'd be awful. Right. Then the next one will be tobacco. Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Yeah, we were saying we were talking about mount conversions and MC11s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do a couple of different mount converters in our range. So currently we do 3 of them. So we do the MC11, which will convert EF to E mount. So that will be great for anyone who's got Canon glass and wants to now move over to the Sony system. Yeah, as you quite rightly said, it was a game changer for you. And then we've done exactly the same with the L mount alliance. So we've gone from EF to L mount, which is great. So now a lot of people can easily move over to RFP, to a Panasonic, to a Leica, and it works perfectly. And the third one is a little bit more of a different market. This is our MC31. So this is for PL lenses. So like our Cine glass there. So you could just clip that onto an L mount system, and it's basically PL to L mount. So those are our 3.
See a picture of that lens you just had in your hand on an FP.
I could put one on.
That would look ridiculous.
No, but it'd be
Sure.
yeah.
Where's
Where's the camera? Oh, there it is.
You've got to hold the lens more than the camera now. So yeah, but those adapters though, especially the 21 and the 11, they pass through all the information and data back to the camera as if it was a native lens. So I know with our Sigma glass that it works perfectly. If we're looking at any other glass, then obviously as Sigma we can't try and test every single lens which is out there. However, 95% of them do work really well.
I've not noticed any issues with my 7200 f4. That was.
I think I hit the odd 5% of the issue on a very old Canon, like 70 to 300.
Yeah.
You know, that was almost made for like film.
Yeah.
So I think that's honestly where that odd 5% sits.
And my 35mm 1.4 on the MC11, like it's just bang on every time. And also the fact that you can firmware update the lot.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's just
it just future-proofs you for every single camera you have in the next lineup, which is fantastic. However, a lot of people with their 35 at 1.4s are probably looking at this and going, it's probably a good size and weight now if I've got a nice little Sony.
It's true. Whilst I love that 35mm 1.4, it is on the weighty side, especially when I'm trying to take pictures of the kids.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If you're juggling the kids already and you're trying to juggle a camera and take a photo, then
you don't want to smack the head with one of those either.
Yeah.
But the quality out of it is fantastic. I took a picture a few years back on Christmas, like card picture.
Yeah.
And the bokeh.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice having the options now of having something that you can get something that is really fast, or you can have something that is really compact, and you know you can make that simple choice of whether do you want something small or do you want something that is fast on your
and also
your shutter
from
speed.
One lens manufacturer. Like
exactly.
You could buy a Canon, a Nikon, a Sony, a Panasonic L mount or whatever, and then you can literally just go to our Sigma cover and go, which lens do I want to use?
Yes, yeah.
The quality is fantastic. It's going to be updatable with the firmware.
Yeah.
And you might have to use a converter, but if you do, it's going to make no difference. And the only difference you'd ever notice is the physical fact that there's just like this 3/4 of an inch barrel thing between your lens and the camera. Like I've never noticed any difference.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Killing it.
Yeah, doing well. Yeah, we pushed up to, and we are one of the top lens manufacturers now, which is fantastic to hear, because maybe before your time, it was 2013. 2012, we started to introduce the Global Vision range, which was the art contemporaries and the sports.
We've been a while, haven't we, Paul?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm being polite. So.
He's been a which change?
A global change.
Okay.
You'll take that however you want.
We've both been here on and off for like
a while,
15, 20 years.
Yeah, but we were here for when it turned to
it was a big deal, especially when you got a few years in and you started seeing the quality and the price.
Which one was it? Was it the 50 mil that was first?
The 35 mil was our first one.
So even now, because you still say that you've got the 35,
Yeah.
so like it was
A long time ago.
and it was such a game changer. It really was. Let us anyone in the comments, like, you know, how long you've had your you know, your Sigma Prime, because it'll be going back a while, and I bet it's still absolutely
And
performing.
when you see a white and black box with Sigma on it, you know it's good. And also, just the fact that there's such a wide range now that you know they've got it right. Do you know what I mean? Like you wouldn't, as a lens manufacturer, produce something like that's not very good and then decide, we'll make them all the same as that. Yeah, like even the 24-105, it's not an exciting lens. F4, it's, you know, it's just what they kit with a lot of full frame cameras nowadays. Like, but with an MC11, you can put that on your Sony or whatever, like I did, and I bought it for the fact that I could still have the manual focus and the distance gauge, rather than going to fly by wire and not being able to know where it was, because it's perfect for pull focus on video.
Yeah.
And what you're spending, is it $599, $649, something like that?
They're not
Very
bad.
affordable.
You get an MC11 for, you know, like $199, and you're still less money than most OEM versions of that lens, and the quality is the same, if not better, in some instances, especially the Mark 1 versions of some of the OEM 24-105s. Like, it's just a no-brainer. And for me, I've sold quite a few of them just because people ask what would be great at a wedding, and if they've not got a lot of money to spend, 105, you just know it's going to work.
Yeah, so works really, really well. So, but yeah, no, the Global Vision was a massive change. So, and I think nearly all the lenses have been sort of replaced. There is still one hanging on in there, which, in all fairness, is, you know, I'm so glad that they've left it in.
Which one?
It's the 105 macro, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. However, did you see we have released a new 105 macro?
Yeah.
It's for L and E mount only. It's not EF. So this is kind of it's not a direct replacement, but it's still a technical replacement. However, that 105 in EF and Nikon mount is fantastic for the value.
It's absurdly inexpensive considering the quality you're getting out of it.
But I like Sigma have just gone. They haven't gone like, oh, this is the old range.
10 to 20.
Get rid of it.
3.5.
Yes, is that? Yeah, that's still current as well, isn't it?
Well, it's becoming end of line.
It is, isn't it?
Unfortunately, so yeah.
I hope they do one of those.
Yeah, they've got to.
For estate agents.
Yeah, they work really well.
Yeah, but then we've also introduced other ones like for our full frame range, because that 10 to the 20 was only for APS-C. So we've got now the 14 and the 12 to 24s. So that would cover the same sort of area. It is slightly larger and a little bit more pricey, but then you also get the higher optical performance as well with it. So if you were an estate agent and you wanted to get the sharp corners and you wanted to show the room a little bit better, then that lens would do the justice for you. But yeah, unfortunately, that old lens is going end of line. So
we're gonna have to stock up on it.
Really well.
What we're gonna sell to the estate agents that don't want to spend any.
Spend some money.
Yeah, reach in your pocket.
The nice thing about a lot of our lenses, we talked about how some people might have a 35 for many years. With every new Global Vision lens, we offer an extended 3-year guarantee. So with any lens, pick it up. If it breaks within 3 years, let us know and we will fix it for you, which is really nice. And then if not, if it's out of warranty, we have a UK service center where we can do the majority of repairs right here, and it's a fairly quick turnaround as well.
Yes, and that again, it's great that manufacturers are offering such long warranties.
Yeah,
but they don't have to if they don't want to.
No, it makes confidence in the brand. Yeah, we've mentioned it before, but you know, when somebody turns around and says that, you know, we're not just giving the bare minimum sort of warranty, you know, we're going to extend it out. I mean, at the end of the day, Sigma don't actually want to repair these things because it costs money.
Yeah, and they
So
want to sell more lenses.
It's in their best interest to make sure that they last.
Yeah.
And as a way of saying that, it will last, here's an extra, warranty period.
Really good.
So it
Free
works
of
out.
charge as well, so it's not bad. So all you have to do is just register it on our website. So if you do pick up any lens, type in the serial number onto our warranty, give like an address and an email number, then you're registered, really.
Cool.
And it's that easy, and it takes less than a second to do. So.
Right. We'll go on to some comments. Seeing the impressive results in the corners, how do they perform on a bit of astro regarding coma and distortion?
Oh, good question.
Very good question. So the coma and distortion, I believe, on the 24 has been reduced, which it's been heavily sort of looked at on the 24 range. So that should be the one to go for if you are looking for astro work. I'm not sure as well, is in that pack I provided you, there might be a photo of an astro. Let's have a look. I think I've seen one somewhere. However, it should perform really well.
If you sent it, I haven't got it on my screen.
Oh, no, that's fine then, don't worry.
What we'll probably do is find that image and post it into the comments afterwards as well. So we can give a good idea. But typically, if we find a lens has been performed to work well in the corners for sharpness, it will also be the same for aberrations and things like that. Because generally, the things that causes less sharpness within the corners is more aberration coming in anyway. So typically what you'll find is that it would perform better within those sort of very dark environments, and also picking up those colors that you need within the night sky.
For sure. Well, Gareth, given that we are going to be doing a workshop in a few weeks' time, maybe I can bring some toys along to play with.
There we go.
Obviously not like those ones because they're not going to be out, but maybe we can try the 45 and see what that's doing.
Yeah.
Like on the FP as well.
Yeah.
If he's coming in after January time, then we should have them all regularly available for him. So I think it's the 22nd of Jan is our last shipment of the 24s. Everything else will be the 1st of Jan.
So unless you've got a demo you want us to play with, Sam. There we go. Put it in the comments. Gareth says again, the FP looks a great addition. The size is just stunning for a full frame. Wink, wink, Joel Longway. Does that mean like you want to play with it?
I think so. Yeah.
On the 12. And we've got Dib saying, I had the 35mm art and loved it so much. Literally a lot of those on there.
Yeah.
On one of my 5D Mark III, guaranteed. Good choice. And Dib says, the 10 to 20mm I recommend a lot of time for folks getting into landscapes. A great lens with really amazingly smooth manual focus.
Yeah.
So there we go.
No, works well.
Another thing, come on, Sigma, get us a 10 to 20 sorted out. And Rob says, can't decide between 24 or the 35 for the urban project I'm planning. I think you just have to buy both and see. Or if you're local to us, pop in, and when they're available, you can have a play and get an idea as to what focal length that works best for you. So, or equally, if you've already done shooting of urban stuff, go into your Lightroom catalog and then look at your focal lengths that you use most often. That's something I used when I was choosing which lenses I wanted to go for in primes.
And you'd get a really good idea of the general lenses, within a zoom that you would like. So, and you get an average.
I can guarantee he's going to have the middle number, like a 28 or something.
Yeah.
It's going to be the one to pick.
You can just crop slightly.
Yeah.
So cool. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us before we go?
I've got a lot of exciting goodies going on, but I'm just trying to think of additional things to tell you guys. We've obviously got our new DCDN range of lenses, which are made for the mirrorless system. One in particular is very popular, which is our 24 to 70. This is 2.8. So again, this is made for native Sony or L mount. It comes in about £1,000. So it's very affordable for a nice little 2.8. Focus by wire. a lot smaller than our original 2.8 24-70, and it's getting fantastic reviews out there. So that's one to look out for if you're wanting a well-rounded.
Yeah.
But that would fit on your FP as well if you're doing a demo. So.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, as Sigma, we're always releasing new lenses. I think we have, say, 2 or 3 announcements every single year. So it's we are pushing very heavily towards a newer future.
New process. How many lenses you can remember?
Yes.
Knowledge to be a London taxi driver. You got to know all the range lens. The range of lenses on my life.
It's like a song that you can learn for knowing every bone in your body.
So you have to do that.
And it would be like
the 24 to the 35. And that's about as much singing as you'll ever hear me.
Yeah.
I was going to see how I could put something together in my head then, and I just remembered it's all it is numbers.
Too many numbers.
Macro in there occasionally.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
We'll make up a song for next time.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sam, for joining us. It was really interesting, and especially for letting us know about those lenses that came out only yesterday.
Yeah.
We rearranged the talk just so that we could get it the day after, so that we could talk about those lenses. I'm really excited to play with those. It's going to be really good.
Yeah, can't wait.
Well, I'm sure we're getting the demo set straight away out of that first batch. So have your customers play with it. So.
And they will be on our website at some point. So Sam has sent over the details. I just need time to get them on.
You guys have been ultra busy. I don't blame you at all.
With Paul watching Netflix, he has very little time.
It takes a lot of time. It really is. Yeah. Streaming platforms are available.
Yeah. Good.
However, I was going to say, with these new lenses as well, there are some independent reviewers which have already had hands-on. So if anyone did want to have a look at the image performance off of the live stream like this, where you can't quite see the pixels correctly, there are a lot on YouTube out there currently. So have a little wander and then pop back to the Cambrian website and pick one up. So
that's it.
Sounds good.
And in the interim as well, if you are interested in these brand new lenses that Sigma have just announced, you can always contact us via telephone, which is 01492 532510. Or you're laughing at.
No, because you do it in twos. I do it in threes.
Yeah, okay. I'll do it in threes next
time.
It's fine. Or you can give us you can shoot over a message on Facebook or any of our social medias, or email at sales@cambrianphoto.co.uk.
There's quite a lot of ways of getting in touch with us.
There is, yeah. We have used carrier pigeon in the past.
wow.
I've been told it is.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Anyway, good to see you, Sam, and hopefully we can see you for real in a not too distant future.
Fingers crossed, guys. Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Bye now.
That's brilliant having Sam tune in with us and going through those brand new lenses as well, which looks super exciting. And we do get excited about the strangest things. And this time,
you kind of have to.
It's being a lens cap.
Like
yeah,
that's a bit weird.
Yeah, it's like we've got these 3 new lenses. It's just like, wow, look at that lens cap. So there we go. Once again, thank you all for watching.
Yeah, thank you for your comments and questions.
Yeah, it really makes the show absolutely worthwhile doing, and knowing that people are watching live and also rewatching as well, which is available. And you can rewatch any of the videos that we've done for the Virtual Winter Show on our website, which is cambrianphoto.co.uk. You can click through onto the speakers, see everything that we've done in the past from this video. You can rewatch them, and if you're watching this video live, you'll be able to schedule any of the other lives that we've got coming up as well, so you can hit reminder, notifying you, and then when we go live.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, and we'll see you at 3.
We will.
And at 7.
Indeed.
Get my fingers correct. And we'll see you later. Cheers.
Bye bye for now.
Bye now.